Lenard, and I'm a storyteller. This is my first YouTube video that I'm sharing with all of the people that are interested in following me on this journey to the NY Times Bestseller list and for my up-and-coming book called Kiss of Madagascar. And so today what I want to share with you is the seed, the catalyst that started this whole journey. 5 years ago I had a dream, and a lot has happened since that dream, so the story that is Kiss of Madagascar has nothing really to do with this dream. But again, it was just the seed that started my creativity to start thinking. And a lot of times when I dream, I have what I call movie dreams. I'm just kind of the viewer of what's happening. So when I came into the dream, I was just kind of a fly on the wall. I was this, had this very peripheral view of what was happening. And there was this beautiful woman, and she was probably about 30 years old, and she had this long, silky hair, and it wasn't like the yellow blonde, it was like the white blonde, like the color of, I call it corn silk. And she had 2 children in the dream. One was probably about 4 years old, and she called him Jojo. And then there was Charles, and he was probably about 8 to 9 years old. And both of them had, towhead white hair, and all of them had these big blue eyes. And there was an energy within this room that was happening. They were in a motor home. It was a very small space, and it was an older motor home, probably in the 70s, with oranges and browns and yellows. And they were all getting ready. It seemed like for a very important event. They were talking about how long they had waited for this day. Jojo was very excited and kept on asking his mother, when do I get to do it? Do I get to do it? Whatever it was, I did not know. And then Charles started, he lifted up the sheet. There was these 2 cages in the bedroom, and he lifted up these sheets, and there was these creatures that I had never seen before. They were probably about this big, kind of monkey-like, with long white fur, and very kind of albino in the sense that everything was very light. Their eyes were light, their fur was light. And Charles started grooming the animals, and they were preparing them like they were going to go with them to wherever they were going. So as they left the trailer, or I should say the motorhome, my view became very from the sky, and they were in a complete empty parking lot, a huge parking lot, and I could tell that they were at a zoo, because over a ways away was this huge, zoo with a sign and everything. And of course I was wondering, why they were there in this empty parking lot. Obviously it was closed. And all 3 of them with the creatures, the 2 creatures, walked towards the zoo, and then a man came out of the zoo entrance, and he was in a uniform, so I knew that he was an employee. And when he met the mother, they met with this amazing greeting, and she also did this with the children. And if these are the faces, they did this movement where they actually never touched, they never kissed. Like the French will kiss their cheeks, but this was that same movement, but not with the touching of the lips. And it was very, I don't know, it just had this feeling about it that was very angelic and of royal status, I guess, for lack of better description. And they walked into the zoo, and they walked for a while, and then went into an exhibit that had these same creatures. And they took the mother, the larger of the 2 animals, and they took her in, and all of the other creatures came to her, and they seemed to accept her, and It seemed to be really joyous. Everyone seemed to be very excited that, everything was going so well. And then Jojo's like tugging on his mom's, sleeve, like, can we go? Can we go? Can I do it? Can I do it? So I'm, looking very forward to whatever the moment is as the viewer. And she takes Jojo and they all walk towards, past other exhibits. And she lifts him up and he's carrying the younger of the two creatures. And they walk to the lion exhibit, and the lions are all down below, the big male and all of his female pride. And she looks at Jojo and she said, we'll do it together. And so I'm thinking, well, what are they going to do? So together they took this beautiful creature and they just threw it out into that exhibit. And it was just flying through the air. And all of the lions, of course, come towards it, waiting for it to fall. And as they come in, after this horrifying throw, I woke up instantly. Not something I wanted to view. But it got my attention. There was something about the dream that I was supposed to learn, or was supposed to think about. And what it made me think about was people that have this aura, that have this charisma about them, and how people are drawn to them. Some of these individuals that have charisma and auras per se end up being our greatest teachers, end up being our greatest prophets. Some of them are our greatest entertainers. People like Elvis Presley and the Beatles. People were just completely drawn to what story they had to tell, what they were sharing with the world. And then there's other people that have taken that same charisma, that same way of drawing people in, and they've used it in a very evil way, per se. People like Hitler and Jim Jones, and, where they brought people in, and then they've used it, to take people's lives. So I've known, obviously, about men that have this charisma. But what about women? What about women with this charisma? You don't hear about that as often. And so it started making me think about that. And that's where the story really started, because I wanted to know about women in our history that used this charisma in a positive way and a negative way. So the next 5 days, Monday through Friday, I'm going to be blogging and telling you about some synchronicities, some so-called coincidences that happened along this journey to create this book. So I hope that you enjoyed this horrifying dream that I had, and I hope that you'll tune in for the next 5 days until next Sunday, when I'll come up with my new video, which is about my journey to Paris and to France to do some of my historical fiction. That video is already done and awaiting for next Sunday. So all the best to you, and love and light.